All right, it's recording. All right. Hello, my name is Layla Mciver. I'm a first year biology pre-med major from Conway, South Carolina.
Hi, my name is Jalen Daniels. I'm a first-year biology pre-med major from Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Knight. I'm a first year bio pre-med major from Long Island, New York.
Hi, my name is Debbie Walkins, and I'm a bio pre-med major from Syracuse, New York.
And today we'll be talking about the migration patterns of birds of prey species in Harvey, Virginia. Migration is the process of migrating from one part of the world to another part due to seasonal change or other opportunities to help benefit the birds. Hawks migrate using different strategies in the deciduous periods such as summer, spring, and fall. Birds of prey have many factors that could possibly affect them, such as renewable energy and food supply. However, radio tracking using satellites for year-round studies can help motivate movement and to benefit the hawks. In our research project, we use beetle birds, and beetle birds is a type of genus. The type of beetle birds at Harvey, Virginia includes the broad-winged hawks, the red-tailed hawks, the red-shouldered hawks, and the red-legged hawks. Our research question was, what was the monthly variation of beetle birds of prey across 2020 at Harvey's Knob? And our hypothesis was the monthly variation of beetle birds of prey across the fall months of 2020 will have no variation within the beetle birds. And for the class research question, it was about, did COVID-19 have an impact on the sampling effects of birds of prey in the year 2020 compared to 2021? And the hypothesis for the classes question was the year 2020 will have less sampling efforts than the year 2021.
Okay, and so for our methodologies, for our site summary, we chose Harvey's Knob, Virginia. And Harvey's Knob, Virginia was created for the sole purpose of providing bird watchers and scientists a place to study birds. Originally, they tried to choose a different location, but because of the geography of the original location, it was hard for them to get there. So they chose Harvey's Knob instead. So for data collection, for our class research question, the period was 2020 to 2021. And for our research, for our group research question, the period was 2020. And for both of the research question and for both research questions, it was in the fall. And so the overall site coordinators were Matt Hosmer and Bill James. And as Gabby stated previously, the recorded species for our group project was the broad-winged hawk, red-shouldered hawks, red-tailed hawks, and red-legged hawks. And those were the Buteo birds from the list that Hawkwatch gave us. And our data was gathered from hawkwatch.com. And so in order to summarize the raw data that Hawkwatch gave us, we created tables to put the raw information into. And then from those tables that we created, we made summary statistics that told us like the maximum, the minimum amount, the median, the standard deviation, and other information like that. And then we created figures that represented one day in each month, 1 week in each month, and then 1 month for each month. And this allowed us to familiarize ourselves with our data. And for site analysis, we made multiple figures in order to analyze the species richness and species abundance. And then we use the species richness and species abundance to analyze the diversity data. And so we use different indices such as the Sorensens, the Simpsons, the Jacquards, and the Shannon indices. So moving on to results, the first figure, which is right here, we looked at the total hours spent observing in Harvey's, not Virginia. And so in order to create this figure, we added up the total hours for 2020 and 2021. And it showed that for the year 2020, there was a total of 578 hours spent observing the birds of prey. And for 2021, there was 568.5 hours spent observing the birds of prey. And so this figure helped us to look at the class research question, and it showed us that the sampling effort between both years was insignificant because it was only a 10-hour difference. And so for figure two also allowed us to help us answer the research question for our class. And so this looked at the diversity in 2021 compared to 2022. And so as you can see from this figure right here, there's a lot of overlap. So that shows that for 2020 and 2021, there is, they followed the same patterns. The birds of prey followed the same patterns for both years. For figure 3 and 4, which are the two at the bottom, they help us to answer our group research question. And so figure 3 allowed us to look at the total count of video birds versus non-video birds in Harvey's, not Virginia, in the fall months of 2020. And so what we did was we added up the total number of video birds seen in each month for 2020, and then the total number of non-video birds seen in each month for 2020. And that allowed us to look at the variation between the months. And that showed us and helped us answer our group research question that there was variation, not only in the video birds, but in the non-video birds as well. And so figure 4 really hits home on that conclusion that we came to. And so for this, we created a donut figure that allowed us to look at the percentage of the total birds seen for fall 2020. And as you can see, September 2020 took up a huge proportion of the birds seen in all of fall 2020 for video birds. And I believe September took up 90%, November took up 3%, September took up 6%, and October took up 1%. And so because all of these figures are not the same percentage, this shows us that there was in fact variation for the video birds in fall 2020 in Harvey's, not Virginia.
Okay, and as we move on to the conclusion, the research question was, what is the monthly variation of buteo birds of prey across fall 2020 at Harvey's, not Virginia? And it was found that there was a lot of variation during the fall months of 2020. The hypothesis for our group was the monthly variation of buteo birds of prey across the fall months of 2020 at Harvey Knob will have little variation. And it was found that the data did not support that. There was actually a lot of variation during those fall months of 2020. And then the null hypothesis for our group was there will be no variation. There will be no variations. And that was also not supported because there's actually a good variety still. And the research question for our class was, did COVID-19 have an impact on the sampling effort for birds of prey in the year 2020 compared to 2021? And it seemed that COVID actually did not have an impact on the sampling effort in the years of 2020 and 2021. The hypothesis for the class was the year 2020 would have less sampling effort than the year 2021, which was also not supported. There is no difference in the sampling efforts between those 2 years.
Jalen, you're muted.
I am so sorry. Throughout the analysis of Harvey's, not Virginia, we created various figures to show that our group and class research questions and hypothesis would be proven. And one of these figures is figure 1, which shows that COVID-19 did not appear to have an impact on the sampling effort in the fall months of 2020 when compared to the fall months of 2021. This could be because the hours that the observers spent observing the birds of prey in 2020 when compared to 2021 were close in total. Additionally, figure 1 is measuring the sample effort and is answering the class research question, which states that there is no significant difference in the sampling effort in the fall months of 2020-2021. When examining the sampling effort hours of the years, it is shown that there is only a 10-hour difference with an estimated 3,000 count difference between the years 2020 and 2021. In 2020, there was 8,088 birds in total, and in 2021, there were 5,693 birds in total. And this is showing that the difference in the sampling effort may be affected by the birds of prey themselves and their activity, rather than the sampling efforts of the observers. Additionally, figure 2 shows that the species diversity in all the fall months of 2020 and 2021 are similar to each other. And the lines on the figure, like Layla was showing, shows that multiple points, shows that the lines interact at multiple points, showing that the bird diversity was alike for 2020 and for 2021. And for the fall months, both 2020 and 2021, the bird diversity, like I said, was very similar. And with the other graphs, we noticed that the birds of prey were most prevalent in 2021 were the most prevalent in 2022 or 2020. I'm so sorry. Additionally, the months that were the least diverse in 2020 were also the least diverse in 2021. This may not be an issue with the sampling effort or due to the birds doing anything out of the usual, but there still remains a big difference that we wanted to point out. Lastly, I just wanted to say that figures 3 and 4 show that the variation in the birds of prey in the fall months of the 2 years. And figure 3 shows that there is not only a variation in the buteo birds of prey, but in the non-buteo birds of prey as well. And this may be due to the bird activity seen throughout the months, as well as the sampling effort by the observers at Harvey's, Virginia. Moreover, figure 4 shows that the variation is seen in the fall months because of none of the percentages are the same. And these two figures, along with the other two figures, are what we wanted to point out the most and what we thought of the most when we were doing this project.
So some critiques that we would give ourselves, or some things that we would do moving forward if we decided to continue with this research question. Some things that we would fix would be, we would make our research question or our group research question more specific. We found it difficult to answer such a broad question because there can be many different answers or many different ways to present that data. So we would have made our research question a little more specific. Another thing that we would have done is we also would have used or we would have presented the Shannon indices model in order to show the results a little better. We would have added more information. We would have also created a frequency chart to demonstrate the frequencies of buteo birds in the fall months of 2020. And so that concludes our presentation. We would like to thank Hampton University's Department for Biological Sciences, Dr. Dash, and the NSF TIP 1911928 grant for this opportunity. So yes, that's it.